Good morning. I am Steve Weber. Welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show. It's been almost 2 weeks since I did a live broadcast. It was Tuesday. Tomorrow would have been 2 weeks. I took a little bit of a break and gave myself a few days off from doing the American Gumption Show, and it feels good. I'm glad to be back here today, and got guest scheduled for tomorrow and Wednesday, and we'll see how the rest of this week plays out. But we're getting back into a new routine after taking a bit of a break. So anyway, welcome back, and welcome back to me. So glad to be back. Alrighty, so today is show number 214. It's Monday, August 30th. No guest today. Just going to do a monologue. Don't expect to be here too long, maybe about 15, 20 minutes. I say that, and then I end up talking for about 20 or 25 minutes, but we'll just see how long it takes. I don't think it's going to take that long. Anyway, the monologue is titled Bench Gumption. Bench Gumption. I'm gonna lay out a vision I have, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I finally am kind of getting to the point where I feel like, all right, I'm getting really close in terms of what this could be. And so, Bench Gumption, the monologue, is going to be kind of laying out the vision of a new series or a new show or a new brand. I've had this Bench Gumption brand for over a year. I've been thinking about how to use it. And so anyway, thinking we're going to just share that today. So no guarantees that this is what it's going to be, but it's getting closer to what it's going to be. So that's what today's monologue is all about. So just going to go through that and then get out of here. Alrighty, now tomorrow, Melanie Jacek will join us. Melanie and I go back about 10 years from the Speakers Association. That's where we originally met. We actually never met in person, but virtually we connected, like I said, about 10 years ago, and we became friends. And then, things change, and, you lose touch with people for a year or two, and then you get reconnected. Anyway, Melanie has a brand new brand. It's an evolution of her own brand, but she's going to be talking about making healthier eating choices. So it's going to be, she's a dietitian. She's been doing this work for almost 25 years, I think. And she's had a couple different, iterations of it, but she's here to announce her brand new website. And we'll talk about that. But basically it's all about making healthier eating choices. And so what we put into our body and how we fuel ourselves and what is our relationship with food. So that's what tomorrow's going to be. And then Wednesday, Julia Stubbe is going to join me, and she is a channel, and we're going to talk about energetically connecting with the universe. So this is going to be this will be a little bit of a far out ET type show. So we'll just see how that plays out. But anyway, excited to meet Julia, or I've actually met Julia, and excited to have the conversation and introduce her to you. But basically connecting to what is all out there beyond this physical plane that we live on here in time and space. So, there's a lot out there in terms of, we're learning a lot of things are happening in the world. So let's just keep an open mind, and we'll have that conversation on Wednesday with Julia Stubbe. All right. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday may or may not be doing live shows. We'll just play that by ear. All righty. So let me go ahead and get my screen share ready here, and we'll just jump right into the monologue, which again I'm calling Bench Gumption. All right, let's see here. We got Debbie Garcia in the house. Hello there, beautiful Debbie. It's been 1 year since we connected. It's been longer than a year. So glad you're here today. And see Megan Michael joins us. Good morning. Thank you for being part of this. And see Megan has been, she's been influencing the direction. I mean, I've been kind of laying things out, but she's been helping me sort things out the last couple of weeks. So appreciate the friendships with Megan and with Debbie. So thank you so much. All righty. So Bench Gumption. What is Bench Gumption? Now, before I tell you what Bench Gumption is, I had this vision of basically a gumption brand. And what is a gumption brand? It's like all these different ideas. And I own all these domains, crazy as it sounds, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to go forward with this. But American Gumption is what kind of wraps it all up. But Bench Gumption is one of the pieces of it. But you can see there's RV Gumption, and there's Gumption books, and Global Gumption, and Quantum Gumption, Classic Rock Gumption. I don't know why do I have all these things, but a vision for it. But anyway, I feel like Bench Gumption, and let's just go ahead and circle Bench Gumption. There it is. That's what we're going to talk about today. But we're also going to talk a little bit about how it relates to American Gumption and Global Gumption. So this chart, and I don't expect you to really be able to see it. I'll make it just slightly bigger there, but it doesn't help much. So I'm going to just put myself back there. It's essentially it's a vision that I created about a month ago. So as I was approaching the 1-year anniversary of doing the American Gumption show, I thought, how do I take this show to the next level, and where do I go with it? And so anyway, I have a couple ideas for some new shows, and those are right up here in this American Gumption dead center, Bench Gumption on top center, and then Global Gumption over on the left. And then I'm not going to talk about the revenue streams, how to monetize this today. We'll do that as a separate topic. And then the communities that I've been involved with, Spirituality Gone Wild for one, just from the very beginning, and others as we've approached, as we keep expanding. So anyway, let's see here. So American Gumption, dead center. That's what this show is all about. That's what I've been doing for the last year. And that was really where we started when I created this vision. Let's go back. So there's American Gumption, and then the American Gumption Morning Show. And that began August 3rd, 2020. So just a year and a month ago, almost, and 214 shows today. So what is American Gumption? It's really basically just been an interview show. And I do the monologues, and it's been a great opportunity for me to, post Forrest Gump, kind of, establish myself as an interviewer, and also someone who's able to take topics and expand upon them. So the monologues, but essentially what it's all been about is personal development. That's what the interviews have primarily been about. Interviewing people, who have gone through some kind of a transformation, a personal transformation, stories of transformation, telling their story. That's what American Gumption primarily has been about. Ordinary individuals living extraordinary lives, and letting them share their story. And I just love it, because I've been on my own personal journey for the last since 2009. So what's that? 12 years now since it started, but with multiple kind of like breakthrough moments along the way. So anyway, I just love interviewing people who have been on their own personal story or personal development path. And I love those moments when everything changes. So that's primarily what the show's been all about. Now, going back to our bigger vision, I thought, okay, how do I take this idea and what I've been doing to the next level, and how do I incorporate all those brands that I've got domains for? Because I had this bigger vision that all of these things could somehow tie together and create a worldwide gumption movement. That's a little bold to say that, but I'll go ahead and say it. So anyway, now let's go ahead and look. There's on the left side of the screen, Global Gumption. And what's funny about Global Gumption is at the beginning, I thought, do I want to call this show Global Gumption, or do I want to call it American Gumption? And I kind of, debated about it. Anyway, it became American Gumption, and then it became the American Gumption Morning Show. But I've had this brand Global Gumption, and all of a sudden in the last couple of months, it became obvious on how I could potentially use that show. So let me just explain that, because Bench Gumption, which this monologue is really about, derived after I came up with the idea of how Bench Gumption could complement American Gumption. So it's not like American Gumption goes away. It's like Global Gumption gets added, and then Bench Gumption gets added. All right. So what is Global Gumption? What is Global Gumption? And here I created a little graphic that could be a show, and I'm saying we the people I've been using as part of the tagline for American Gumption, but freedom loving people united. And again, a worldwide concept, global. A lot of transformation happening in the world these days. A lot of things going on. And unfortunately, many people aren't getting the full story because the mainstream media is not necessarily doing a great job of sharing what is. They're not only are they not doing a great job, let's just put it bluntly, they're covering up, they're telling what their story is. And anyway, so it's Global Gumption I envision as a topic show. So rather than being an interview show, Global Gumption would be more about the issues of the day, and this rapidly changing world that we're involved in. And there's many citizen journalists, and I've followed several of them over the last multiple years. But think of anybody who's been banned from the different big tech platforms. They're essentially citizen journalists. They're out there discovering, they're connecting dots, they're talking about issues, and they're being banned. And so other channels, other back channels are popping up, and it's a lot of happening. But basically, it all involves around freedom, truth, and personal sovereignty. We as individuals need to be able to make our own choices, whatever they are. And so I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life, but I certainly want to give everybody the opportunity to have the freedom to live their life. And so anybody who says that this is the way we have to do it, I'm pushing back on it. We want to all be able to make our own choices. And so anyway, this is the idea of Global Gumption. Now I share that just because once I kind of got that idea, I thought, oh, okay, now I can maybe see how global or how Bench Gumption can fit into it. So talked about center American Gumption, the show I've done for the last year, Global Gumption, the idea of, okay, American Gumption being more of an interview show, talking to guests, just like I've done, talking about their own personal stories of transformation. And we talk about their particular topic and interest, but I'm seeing the American Gumption brand being more about the person, the individual, and their story of how they got there, and Global Gumption maybe being more a collective about the different topics that they talk about, because many people talk about the same kinds of things. And so Global Gumption could be more of a topical story as opposed to the personal story. All right. So now what does Bench Gumption mean? What is Bench Gumption? Well, I had something to do with the character. Obviously, I sat on the bench and I talked to people for a long time. 15 years for the Bubba Gump restaurant. And man, did I have a good time doing that. But, somehow I always thought, well, how do I use that other persona, to share stories and to tell stories? And so Bench Gumption is what I came up with. So here is the vision. So Bench Gumption essentially is just going to be nice, short little skits. We're not going to have the character explaining a whole lot. We're going to have one or two lines and sitting on the bench somewhere and essentially just giving some kind of a wit and wisdom type message, channeling the character and saying it in a way that the character would have said it. So again, it's a use of the character. It's bullet point number 2. And I really see these little messages, these short little skits, these short little appearances as a way of pointing to either the American Gumption morning show, potentially about a particular guest and something they talked about, or the Global Gumption show it could point to, or it could point to others, these other citizen journalist shows, and point there. Now, the key thing about the character is that it would be tender and gentle and filled with loving care. So, it's not going to be, Gump's not going to be getting in your face. That's for darn sure. It's going to be, and it's going to be positive and encouraging. So there's a lot of negativity going on in our world. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of fear. And so if I can use the character to, point towards a deeper examination of a particular idea or a concept and do it in a positive and fun way, I'm wondering, does this help all humanity move forward and, get more clarity about what's happening in our world, because our world again is changing very quickly. So it's basically it's about, let me go back 2 slides. It's about somehow using the character in these short little skits, and bench gumption is really what it's really all about. All righty. So now, one of the things that I don't have on my chart, but I just wanted to share it here, is that I've been, over the last couple of years, I've had this vision for a members website, but just think of it as a separate website, and it could be under the American Gumption brand, but it could be like a subdomain, and it would basically be where all of the content is stored. Because right now I've been broadcasting to Facebook and to YouTube, and I don't have them on a particular website. So I imagine the members section being it. Now, whether I charge for that or whether how that works, I haven't figured any of that out. But basically, all of this. So basically, American Gumption interviews could be housed there. Here, I'll go the website, all shows. So they would be categorized, they'd be searchable, it'd be a learning center, and it would link to other people's ideas. But it could contain all the American Gumption interviews. It could contain the global Gumption topics. It could contain other citizen journalists and their shows, and pointing out to them. I wouldn't necessarily put their content on it, but I would want to put lots of links and have it on there. And the vision is that right now we have a lot of information out there in the world. But it's like, you're constantly searching for things. And so one of the nice things about this particular member site that I'm envisioning is that, you would be able to tag things for yourself. And so if you want to go back and search it again or review it, you could do that. It would also indicate whether or not you've actually, viewed the information beforehand. And so you'd have a way of knowing like what kind of information you reviewed and so kind of like a collation, a collection of different information. So this is the vision. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with bench gumption, but I wanted to just sort of give you the big picture. So back to the character and the bench gumption idea, just a way of in a fun way, pointing to the different interviews that I do, and pointing to other people's topics and other people's content. And again, part of this community of people who are saying, hey, the world has gone crazy. Let's, what is the truth out there? And there's lots of options. And so we live in a crazy world, and we'll figure all that out. So that is really it. That's my my whole thing on bench gumption for this morning. I don't want to make it any more complicated or any more detailed, because I don't know what it's going to be. I did go buy a bench over the weekend. I found a used bench that's kind of the perfect, bench that I can throw in the back of my truck and vehicle, and I can move it to different locations. And so that's kind of the vision I have is, I put the costume on, and I have, I have a couple different topics that I want to record messages for, and I take the bench out somewhere, set up the camera, and record these, maybe only 15 to 20, 30 seconds at the shortest, to maybe, a minute at the very longest. So very short little, bench gumption skits. Let's just leave it at that. Bench gumption skits. And then pointing back, with a link to either the Global Gumption topical shows or the American Gumption interview show. So this is the vision of how I could, I've been trying to figure out how to use the character. Let's see. I did a 3 times a week gumption. I forget what it's called now. I was going to get a recording and share it, but basically it's I use the character to do this little messaging, and I did it for about a year. I probably did, I don't know, 3 times 150 of them, let's say 3 times a week for 50, for a year, 150 of these different things, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And, they were like short little, they were about 2 minutes long, I think. And then I did the top 94 life lessons from the movie. That was a slightly different version of using the character. So anyway, the character has appeared in a couple of different formats over the years, but bench gumption is how I could see it coming back and, participating in helping our country and our world move forward as we, as we go through this trying time where there's a lot of changes happening and a lot of changes forthcoming in the next, the next months and years as the planet evolves and becomes what it's going to become. But we're certainly not going back to the way things used to be. So this is it. So I'm going to just wrap it up and here I'll throw up the American Gumption monologue or Bench Gumption monologue there. That's really it for this show. I will be back tomorrow, and let's see here. I'll go ahead and get rid of this here. Stop the screen share. There it is. Tomorrow, Melanie Jatzik joins us, and we're going to talk about making healthier eating choices. So the fuel that we put in our body is what keeps us going. And she's not a diet like person, or you can't eat this or you can't eat that. She's like, you eat whatever you want, but just kind of have that relationship and that healthy relationship with all different foods. So you can have little pieces and taste of things, but don't go crazy with it. So that's really her message. But I'm going to let her tell her message, and I'm not going to say what her message is, but it's about making healthy eating choices. And then Julia Stubbe on Wednesday will be joining us. We had her scheduled a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, and then technical problems came up, so we had to postpone that. But energetically connecting to the universe is going to be the topic for Wednesday. So, all righty. Well, that's it. Let's see, what time is it? 22. Yeah. So yeah, I knew it was going to be kind of a short show. Good to be back, and I'm glad I did a short show just because I had taken about a 2-week break. I just, you just get to the point where you go, okay, enough of this. Let's just stop and take a little rest. Shout out to my friend Heather Holmes, P squared, P2 probiotics. We'll be talking about that more in this future, but for right now, I ended up having a chance to do some house sitting for her while she was gone. And so I got out, and that was part of this little break that I took, and then had a chance to visit her down at the Jersey Shore for a couple of days. So anyway, part of my little summer getaway the last 2 weeks. So anyway, thank you, Heather. Alrighty, so that's it. I will see everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for Melanie Jatzik. Have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow.